Hi! Hi! We know each other! He's a friend from work! That was my best attempt at a Chris Hemsworth, Thor, Australian, Asgardian accent. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Dr. Anwar Youssef Dunbar, and this is Big Discussions 76, Entertainment and Media. Please like this video, please share it, and please subscribe to my channel. Well, for those of you who don't know, and I'm sure anyone who's curious enough to watch this after seeing the title and the thumbnail, that was a classic line from Thor Ragnarok, which was the third movie in the Thor series from the Marvel Cinematic Universe. The first movie was alright. The second movie, the Thor Dark World, didn't get good reviews, and I watched a little bit of it. Don't have a lot of memories of it, but I did go see Thor Ragnarok in large part because of the trailer. I think that was Immigrant Song by Led Zeppelin. I could be wrong about that, but the trailer rocked, and then the action they put in that trailer was invigorating, and it just all worked together. And then they put the classic scene in there where we see the emergence of the now sentient, independent Mark Ruffalo Banner Hulk, dressed in his gladiator gear. And as we watch the movie, we see that he's become a regular participant in the Grandmaster's arena game. I'll just call it an arena game. He has kind of a gladiator type thing where he has two combatants go up against each other, and Thor ends up on that planet, and it turns out the Banner Hulk has been there for a while. Now, what's interesting is that I don't remember the MCU explaining how Hulk got there after Avengers Age of Ultron. We know that somehow the Hulk figured out how to take control of the body, or the host, because Banner and Hulk were sharing Banner's body. And fascinatingly, in Thor Ragnarok, we learned that Banner was gone for a number of years, swallowed up inside of the Hulk. And the Hulk didn't want to, go back to the old agreement, I'll say. And I just watched that scene where Hulk emerges into the battlefield, or into the arena. And I also watched the scene where Thor asks for Hulk's help to get off that planet. And my other favorite line is not Banner, or no Banner, only Hulk, is one of those two. And during that scene, the Hulk, again, he's self-aware, he's sentient, and when Thor is talking to him, the way they depicted the Hulk was almost like a childlike. He had a childlike personality, and so when Thor sitting there talking to him, it was like he was talking to a 5-year-old. And then, of course, there's the scene where Thor finds the Quinjet, and he plays a recording of Natasha Romanoff, also known as the Black Widow, and then the Hulk storms into the Quinjet, looking for his friend, and then he sees the recording of Romanoff, and he can't help the transformation back to Banner. And Banner says, "Whoa, I've been gone for I think it was 2 years in the movie. I could be wrong. But in any case, so that Thor Ragnarok is related to the topic of this video. My smartphone sends me all kinds of articles, and today it sent me an article entitled Avengers 5 could mean the return of a fan favorite MCU villain. A 2016 comic line pits this villain against a cosmic foe. And this was written by Deus Johnston, and this was dated August 15th, 2020. So I'm going to read it, and I'll probably show some cool pictures during this voiceover. So Avengers 5 may still be in early development, but there's never a bad time to look at the comics for inspiration as to where the Marvel Cinematic Universe can go from here. Now that Thanos has been vanquished, it's difficult to imagine an enemy more treacherous, but perhaps the gateway to the next Marvel villain is hiding in plain sight. Thor Ragnarok was quite the departure from the standard run of Marvel movies, but its lighthearted tone and colorful cinematography provided a great excursion for Thor and the Hulk. However, the undeniable highlight of the movie was the charismatic foil, the Grandmaster, played with equal amounts of charm and smarm by Jeff Goldblum. With his acting chops, he could definitely return in a more villainous role in Avengers 5, but he'd need someone else to provide extra stakes, someone who could rival Thanos. In 2016, the Grandmaster, originally known as Gast, was featured in a run of comics entitled Avengers No Surrender. In this story, he had to settle an old beef with a friend who he thought he vanquished eons before. This friend, one of the elders of the universe, had the name Grandmaster first, but was challenged by a younger Ndwi who took the name and banished his enemy. In No Surrender, this former friend reemerges under the name The Challenger and aptly challenges his old friend to a rematch. The Grandmaster accepts, and each elder assembles a team, the Grandmaster forming the Lethal Legion and the Challenger forming the Black Order. They decide to battle it out on Earth, which, needless to say, does not go over well with the Avengers, who must defend the planet from two supervillains only concerned with dibs on a mediocre nickname. No Surrender would make the perfect basis for the next Avengers movie for a number of reasons. Firstly, a villain who doesn't really care about the destruction of the human race would be a breath of fresh air, and two villains would be twice the threat. It also could introduce a new superhero trope yet to be explored in the MCU. In Avengers No Surrender, the heroes are joined by a new ally, Voyager. She seems to be a founding member of the Avengers, but it's revealed she's actually Gast, the Grandmaster's daughter. The memories of Voyager were inserted into the Avengers' memories as a way to establish trust. A Benedict Arnold turn like this, combined with memory manipulation, would be the perfect plot twist for a flagship Avengers film. It would be relatively out of character for the Marvel Universe to be inspired by a comics run newer than the MCU itself, but it's hard not to want this movie adaptation on the big screen. Just as the comics used the old art style insert Voyager into the Avengers past, the MCU could use CGI to place Voyager into footage of past movies. And it says here in parentheses, imagine if Avengers 5 begins with a new team member that everyone pretends has been around forever, and when they pull up footage from the Battle of New York, she's there too. Plus, Jeff Goldblum would get a chance to stretch his evil muscles again, and that's an opportunity that Marvel should not pass up. I'm going to leave this article in the description box below. A couple of thoughts before I end. One of the cool things about Thor Ragnarok that I remembered afterwards was it was like their way, the MCU and I guess Disney to a lesser extent, that was their way of giving Thor and Hulk their own movie, because they weren't in Captain America Civil War, and that's one of the cool things about Captain America Civil War, and that's that it seemed like it was a matchup between the more human characters, even though Vision wasn't human, he was an android. But it seemed like it was they needed to create equal teams, and if you had Thor and the Hulk in there, you would have had something else. But you needed equal teams in that movie in order for the plot to play out, and in order for it to end up being Iron Man versus Cap at the end. Speaking of Vision, that's the other thing. At the end of Avengers Endgame, or at least going into Avengers Endgame, I thought that there would be some sort of discussion or resolution about what happened to Vision. We know that Thanos ripped the Mind Stone out of his forehead at the end of Infinity War, but they never really said anything else about Vision, aside from when Wanda, Scarlet Witch, was fighting Thanos and said, "You took everything from me." So I'm assuming Vision is going to show up in whatever they create next. You can't leave that completely unknown. From Thor Ragnarok, I really enjoyed Valkyrie, and I also enjoyed in Endgame that scene where the new merged Banner, Hulk, and Rocket show up, and they introduce themselves to Banner. Hulk introduces Valkyrie to Rocket, and Valkyrie gives them this side eye. So there are a lot of articles like this that come into my phone regarding what these comic book movie franchises might do. I get a lot of Hulk articles, not Hulk, Batman, Robert Pattinson Batman articles daily, almost daily, and there's a lot of speculation about what they might do. At the end of Thor Ragnarok, basically Thor and Banner, Hulk and Valkyrie and Loki, they basically left the Grand Master's world and his operation turned upside down, and I think he was being surrounded by his subjects, so we don't really know what happened to him other than he lost his prized gladiator, and his whole arena games thing was disrupted. So it's entirely possible that we may see the Grandmaster again in Jeff Goldblum. As a quick aside, my number one memory of Jeff Goldblum will always be the 1980s The Fly movie, because it scared me to death. I think I was a preteen, and that movie, the effects, the transformation scared the shit out of me. But I'm not here to talk about The Fly. One more Marvel Easter egg that I thought could lead to something else, I think, was the ending of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, where there was an alien planet and something was coming out of a pod or some sort of sarcophagus. And, they never really said what that was. It didn't have any impact on Avengers Endgame. And so that leads me to think that that's a seed that's going to unfold in whatever the MCU does next. And again, I'm going to end this by saying my only hope for the MCU going forward is that they don't screw the whole thing up. The first Avengers movies and the individual movies surrounding it were solid. The characters were solid. Some would argue that Captain Marvel wasn't. I'm thinking about the Critical Drinker right now. If you haven't subscribed to the Critical Drinker, he puts out a lot of great movie reviews and content. Lots of humor, lots of snark, lots of creativity. I love the Critical Drinkers channel. He what's the word I'm looking for? He really parodies and disparages Brie Larson and Captain Marvel. It's hilarious. I love it. Pretty much anytime he makes her the butt of a joke, it's funny. The same thing with Rey from the last 3 Star Wars movies. In any case, I'm going to end this here. I'm gonna leave this article in the description box below. Please let me know what you think in the comment section below. Please like this video, please share it, and please subscribe to Big Discussions 76 Entertainment and Media. Of all my 4 channels, this one is the smallest. I don't give it enough attention, but also, as I've said before, as I've reviewed other forms of media, we can't go to the movies right now, so I've had to look at other content. I've had to look at other ways to create content on this channel. In any case, I'm done. As always, remember that your attitude determines your altitude. Take care, and I'll talk to you the next time. Bye-bye. Avengers, assemble.